More work done on the warp spiders, but I know what you're asking. Nick, are you going to do freehand on the backpacks? Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, another update on the warp spiders, and this is part of my Get It Painted challenge, and I'm really happy to say that I'm getting these guys painted now. I've done a lot of painting since the last video, so I've finished highlighting the purple, finished highlighting the gold and doing the power weapon effects, and I've also gone in and I've done the base coats of all the gemstones. So really getting there. Right, so let's just zoom in and we'll have a closer look at these guys. So starting off with one of the normal guys, that guy there. So yeah, on the purple I did my usual IDIC colours as such. I always call it the IDIC purple. It's slightly different to possibly how most people highlight purple, but what I do is I go in with first of all, of course, the base coat, which was light purple, and then I washed the recesses with a purple wash. I then went in with a mixture of the light purple with some warlock purple mixed in, did one highlight, and then I did another highlight of pure warlock purple. Then I added some Debham stone to that warlock purple, did like an extreme little highlight, and then I glazed everything over with the original light purple, just made up a little glaze, and I went over all of the highlights and just sort of dumbed them down a bit so they're not too bright. And I love the effect it gives. It's like almost like a glowing purple. Really like it. So I did that. In terms of the gold, I'll just bring another guy out. Let's bring one of these guys in. There we go. So in terms of the gold, as you can see, I've done the power weapons there. So I did my usual sort of power effect, which I do on my Eldar, which is like a blend from silver into the gold. I really like how it looks, and it sort of keeps that sort of regal feel that I have on the army. So I did that. So then I went in and highlighted the rest of the gold. The little runic things on the chest plate there in the middle, it's fair to say that the sculpts aren't particularly good on these. I did the best that I could. This guy here in particular, his runes on his chest plate sort of pretty mashed up, really, to be fair. So I'm not overly happy with that, but like I said, I did my best with the sculpt that I had, but apart from that, things looking pretty cool. And as you can see there, I've also base coated the gemstones. All my gemstones are yellow, so I've gone in with the Iandin yellow as a base coat, and I'll be highlighting them up. I'm not going to highlight them next because I'm going to wait until I paint the eyes, because the eyes on these guys are going to be yellow. So yeah, just bring this guy in. Now I have marked the 3 different units. I know that I've got different material on their bases for the 3 different 5-man squads, but what I've also done is I've painted the gemstones here on his backpacks in slightly different positions, again to help me distinguish which unit is which on the table. I haven't gone in and painted every single gemstone on the backpack because on my Eldar I don't have too many gemstones. I've got like a limited amount of gemstones. Let's just bring in another guy. There you go, so he's got that sort of runey thing hanging down from his gun, so I highlighted that. Another gemstone on his gun as well. So that is how they're looking. So what is next? Well, next I've basically got to just do those white sections. So my first task is going to be to go over all of the models with a couple of more thin coats of white, where I've obviously been handling them. I've been particularly picking them up by the guns and putting them onto my little paint pots. So I just need to make sure that all of those ends of the guns are really bright white. So I'll go over with a couple of coats of white first, and then I will go into all the recesses with a grey. I'm going to sort of basically line in all of the shadows. I'm going to paint the eyes, of course, as I said, they'll be yellow, highlight them up. And then the guns themselves, if you did watch the very first video, you'll know that I'm going to be painting them in a sort of black and white theme. So these struts in the middle are going to be black, and then the outside bits will be white. And that's going to match into my other monofilament weapons in the army. And I think it should look pretty cool. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that's going to work out quite nicely. And then once that's done, just highlight those gemstones, and I'm done apart from the bases. Except, I know what you're asking, I know the question you're asking, and that is, Nick, are you going to do anything with those Warp Spider backpacks? That's your question, isn't it? I know you want to ask it. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn these models around, and I'll come back. Okay, so that is how they're looking from behind. Now I know the traditional thing to do is to do a spider's web on the back of the backpacks, and I have to say, to be honest with you, I don't like that. It's just my personal preference. I'm just not a fan of the spider web on the back pack there. And I actually, to be honest with you, I do actually like that big flat sort of plate as such with no detail on. I think it matches the rest of the army quite well. If you consider some of the models, like for example, say the Wraith Knight, I can imagine them guys like standing next to a Wraith Knight, and that's got some very large, big, bland panels, and obviously you've got the tanks and stuff, which sort of, I think the whole army, on the whole, has quite big areas of just plain purple. So I think that will match him. Now, having said that, I do plan on doing a little bit of freehand. So my idea is I'm going to do it on the X-Art only. So I'm going to have a go at painting freehand on the X-Art's backpack. And there's been something that I've been meaning to try out for quite some time. You may remember the Autark on a jet bike that Claydog, 33 Claydog did for me, and he did some awesome freehand on that. And I'm thinking about not trying to replicate, because there's no way I'm going to be able to get it as good as what Clayton can do, but I'm thinking about maybe having a go myself at that type of design. And I'm not going to do it on all 15 because that's going to take me forever, and I don't think it needs to be on all 15, but I think it might be quite nice to have something special on maybe the X-Art backs. So that's going to be the plan. I haven't 100% decided I'm going to do that. I may back out at the last minute, but that's the plan. But first of all, I want to get everything else painted. Basically, I want to finish them, and then I'm going to have a look at doing the freehand. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to have to get Clayton's jet bike out again, have another closer look at it, and see if I can actually do it. Okay, so that is it for this video. I really hope you like what I've done so far. Thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next video.